everyone, it's Lex or D-Ball Lexa here, and I'm back with your Juve Women's Weekly. This is your spot for all updates and news and highlights on the Juventus women's team, and boy, did we have a fantastic game this weekend to cover. I'm so excited to break it all down with you here today. We are going to go through every goal, every important moment, and everything that you need to know about that 6-1 win over Milan. We're going to cover in today's video. So let's get started. So the Juve women, as I mentioned, played on Saturday, March 12th against AC Milan. And this was in the first leg of the Coppa Italia semifinals. And this was a huge win. And I'm sure if you've heard about it, if you're on social media, if you're on Twitter, you most definitely heard about this match. And so in typical Juventus women fashion, they put up a huge win, a huge convincing win over Milan this weekend. And so the first goal, the goal scoring, was opened up by the one and only Cristiana Girelli in the 8th minute, who found the back of the net off of a corner kick and was the first to put a goal on the scoreboard for the Bianconere. The second goal came in the 30th minute. The second goal started off of a free kick play that was taken short, passed around the attacking third, before finding its way to Nilden at the top of the circle, who opened up onto her back foot, and which was her left foot, and scored a beautiful curling left-footed shot, curled into the far right post of the net. And this was probably my favorite goal. You're going to hear me say that multiple times this video. I had a lot of favorite goals because so many of these goals were highlight reel from the match. And Nilden's goal actually got special recognition by ATA Football via Twitter when it was compared and competing for goal of the week with Alexia Putellas' goal from FCP Femini. If you don't know Alexia Putellas, she is the current Ballon d'Or winner. And so pretty high praise for Nilden to be up against Putellas for goal of the week. And that's our very own Nilden of Juve Women. She had a beautiful goal, so definitely check that out. And so that's it for the first half, though. We were only up 2-0 at half, amazingly. And the second half, you're probably wondering how the game ended up 6-1. Well, wait till we get into it. The second half was very entertaining. And so the third goal, Bonacea drove the ball up the field, sent the ball through to Girelli, who scored a beautiful chip shot over the keeper. It was a fantastic finish into the back of the net in the 61st minute, and it was actually also Girelli's second goal of the game. And Girelli was not the only player that had a brace, though, this game. And you'll hear more about who else scored a brace in a little bit. However, in the 71st minute, now we're up 3-0. Although I've been highlighting goals, this is also a defensive moment that's going to get a special shout out in this video. And this comes from Boatin's goal line clearance. Incredible defensive reflexes to clear the ball off the line in the 71st minute and prevent the Bianconere from conceding. So they maintained their 3-0 lead all the way up until the 83rd minute. Well, you're probably wondering, how is it only up 3-0 in the 83rd minute? And despite the match ending 6-1, well, the answer that you're looking for is Agnese Bonfantini. She didn't have her chance to make her impact on the game yet, but when she got it, she did not disappoint. So the fourth goal was set up completely by Bonfantini, who chased down a through ball, played the ball into the box to Zamagnan, whose shot actually gets deflected and ends up on the rebound right on Rosucci's foot, who plays the ball into the net easily and puts in that fourth goal in the 83rd minute for the Bianconere. The fifth goal was, however, Bonfantini's goal, and she actually scored the final two goals, so the fifth and the sixth goal, and so she was the second player with the brace that day. So both Girelli and Bonfantini scored a brace. So back to the fifth goal. The fifth goal was sent off of a wonderful through ball to Bonfantini, who passed it around the goalkeeper and then slotted the ball in the net from a nearly impossible looking angle, and that was in the 88th minute. Still not done. She scores her second and gets another in the 89th minute. Her rocket shot is attempted to be parried away by Milan's goalkeeper. However, the ball actually ends up dropping behind her and into the net in the 90th minute. I promise this is going to be done soon, but the game and the highlights of the game are still not over. The story still hasn't been written, because in the 90th minute, while being up 6-0, the Bianconere do still concede a goal off of a corner kick, and it was an unfortunate short corner kick that kind of ended in a bit of a scramble around the box, and it landed on Tolma's foot from Milan, and she backheeled it into the net. And so the game did end up ending 6-1. So that was the match, and I highly recommend you watch the highlights for this match. They're available on via Juventus's Twitter channel. They posted them there. They're also available, as they all are and always are, on FIGC Feminile's YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, I would definitely recommend checking those out because there was so many goals, so many highlight moments. I definitely recommend that you watch. So now, moving on, as I promised last video, I'm going to be featuring a player this week, and that player is, if you remember, is Barbara Bonasea. And Barbara Bonasea is one of my favorite players. She's part of the generation of Italian women's soccer players that I grew up watching and supporting, and so it's really cool that I get to share Barbara Bonasea with all of you if you don't already know her. Also, hopefully, if you do already know her, you can learn something more about her, just like I have while doing research for this video. I learned a lot more about Bonasea that I didn't know about her before, so this should be pretty exciting, and we'll get right into it. So Bonasea was born on June 13th, 1991 in Pinerolo, Piemonte. So she's a native of the surrounding area of Torino. And she joined Juve in 2017. She was the first Juventus women's player to score a Champions League goal and also scored Juve's first ever Serie A goal. And so, as you can tell, the storybooks were already being written for her from the minute she stepped into the club. So it was pretty amazing from Barbara Bonasea. She currently wears number 11, and she plays for Juve, as I mentioned, and also for the Italian women's national team. So she can play forward or midfielder, but she typically plays out wide so she can use her pace, which is one of her greatest assets, along with her eye for goal and also a rocket shot. She began her career at Torino. Now, before you say anything or think anything, Juve didn't have a team, remember, didn't have a women's team until 2017. So being a native of the Torino area, she did have to play for Torino. However, we do know that her heart is bianconere because she's with us now. But she did begin her career over at Torino, and she played there from between 2006 and 2012, where she scored 26 goals and played over 100 games. Afterwards, she moved to Brescia in 2012, and she was there between 2012 and 2017. She had 111 appearances and scored 61 goals there, and she helped her team to 2 league titles, 2 domestic cups, and also 3 Supercoppas while she was there. And this ended up with her being named the Serie A Female Footballer of the Year in 2016. So that was one of her individual awards. Finally, in 2017, she came to Juve. She made her debut against Atalanta, scoring a brace in a 3-0 win that we had that day. She's won a league title every year since she's been at Juve. So that would be 4 Serie A Femminile titles, 1 Coppa Italia, and 3 Supercoppa titles since becoming a Juventina. So far this season, she has 7 goals and 3 assists across all competitions so far. And that's pretty much it for her Juve career that we're going to be talking about. There's still so much history for her left to write, and so we look forward to watching her the rest of this season and hopefully in the future as well. And going into now a little bit of her national team career. So she began playing for the national team in 2012. She currently has 27 goals scored for them, and she's made 69 appearances for Le Azzurre. She played in the Women's Euros in 2017. And she also played in the Women's World Cup in 2019. So she was part of, if you remember, I mentioned in one of my previous videos, she was part of that historic team that made the quarterfinal run in the 2019 Women's World Cup. So it was the first time the Italian women's team had made a knockout round of the World Cup. So that was pretty impressive. So going into really quickly a little bit of her individual awards, she has been named the AIC Best Women's 11 in 2019. She made the FIFA FIFPro Women's World 11 in both 2020 and in 2021. And she's also very recently has been inducted into the Italian Footballing Hall of Fame. So now to go into a little bit of details of this cool story I found about Bonasea. It's a FIFA article that they wrote about featuring her, and Bonasea here describes her experience studying macroeconomics at the Università degli Studi di Torino. So she speaks about balancing professional soccer for Juve and also getting her macroeconomics degree, which is incredible. I don't know how she has time to do all of that, but somehow she does. And so that's pretty remarkable that she can do both. One funny moment that they mentioned that I wanted to share with you all was she talked about how she had a business economics exam, and not even 2 days later, she flew out to the Women's World Cup qualifiers in 2019, and this was the decisive match. And they said that she scored and she passed with flying colors to help carry Italy to their historic World Cup qualification. So this was the first time the Italian women's team had qualified in 20 years. And so this was pretty impressive. So it was just cool how she had to balance both her exam for school and then what we were calling her footballing exam with the qualifier match. And in the article, she mentions that she admits to daydreaming in class of playing for Italy in packed out stadiums at the World Cup, just as she envisioned when she was little and she would watch the Italian men's team play in the World Cup as well. The article also mentions, as I said before, that she likes to play on the left, typically of a three-pronged attack. However, she can also operate as a left midfielder or as a second striker. They mentioned that perhaps her asset, that is her most remarkable asset, is her mastery of the knuckleball free kick, likened to that of Andrea Pirlo. And not only have her knuckleballs have helped her become a serial goal scorer, but she's also renowned for her ability to dribble and her long range passes. So she's renowned for also being an empress of the assist. So that was just a little bit of an insight into the career and the life of Barbara Bonasea. I hope you enjoyed learning more about her. I know I did, and so I really look forward to watching her and supporting her on the pitch. Forza Barbara. So this is going to be it for today's video. I'm going to wrap it up quickly. So just here's your weekly reminder about the Champions League match. That is the game next week, March 23rd, 1:45 p.m. Eastern against Lyon. Huge match. It's going to be at the Allianz Stadium. Please make sure you tune in. It's available on YouTube. It's going to be very accessible. And the second leg is March 31st, 2022. So in next week's video, I'm going to be recapping their game because their next game is this Saturday, March 19th versus Napoli, who currently sit at 9th place in the table, and that's at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. And so I'll be recapping the Juve-Napoli league game. And then I'll also be featuring and doing some pre-game talks about the Champions League match that is going to be played because we're going to get ready for that game. And so I'll be recapping their journey in the Champions League this season. I'll give you a bit of background on which players to look forward to look out for on Lyon, like Herdeberg and some of the other stars that they have, as well as talking to you a little bit about history of Lyon in the Champions League and why this will probably be a challenge for the Bianconere, but it'll be a good challenge and a way for them to establish themselves in Europe outside of their domestic league and to make a name for themselves and for Italian women's soccer. So that's it for today's video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much for staying with me and thank you so much for listening. As always, I really appreciate your continued support. Make sure you like the video if you like it. Please subscribe to All Juve Cast. And as always, you can catch me on our live podcasts and the rest of the team. Thank you so much, everyone. You're the best.